Let's round off this hour of reaction with the view of the clergy. Then we can speak to Pastor Derrick Moswana. Dear Pastor, a very good evening to you. Thank you so much for being on the program tonight. Does what the President has announced tonight allow you and your congregation to have a great Easter? Pastor Derrick Moswana, can you still hear me? I think we may have lost Pastor Derrick.
To you and to the listeners as well. We welcome the official announcement of the lifting of the state of the national disaster, and we must also note that South Africans have long released themselves from these nonsensical laws that have been introduced or imposed to them by the government of the day. We, however, are concerned because churches are required that meet almost once a week are still required to have their members produce vaccine certificates for a worship service that lasts for almost a maximum of 3 hours. But people entering taverns, students in classes are not required to produce the same for their lessons. So we are seriously observing the current developments in the government of the day, and we are just hopeful that these are not acts that will move for a compulsory or a mandatory vaccines in the country. So we are just trying to observe. We have made our submissions, and we are hopeful that Cyril Ramaphosa will this time round announce correctly or make an informed decision. So
as far as your submissions, am I right to assume that what you're going to say in the submissions is that you don't want the requirement for congregants to prove that they're vaccinated in order to attend a service? You also don't want them to be required to produce a negative test, am I right?
We in as much as we have already told our members not to vaccinate, we are not expecting them to produce anything that is vaccine related for a normal worship service. If one needs to produce a vaccine certificate when entering a church hall, then we must expect everyone in the supermarkets to produce the same.
Pardon me for jumping in. Very quickly, if you can, yes or no. On Good Friday, will you implement any of the COVID-19 regulations as announced by the President?
We are calling for our members to go for their worship services as normal. They must disregard whatever the President is remaining. The national disaster has been lifted, and so is their law.
Lifted with restrictions, but you say you will not comply. Thank you very much, Pastor Derrick Moswana, for speaking to us. The pastor